This family, her husband, I think the in-laws are here as well. Welcome. Mr. Daniel is a professor of medicine, vice chair of the Department of Medicine, and medical director of the Clinical Research Center at Morehouse School of Medicine. Those of you who know the States, Morehouse is a bastion of Black culture, and we're very proud that our sister has gone to represent. See the hairstyle. Without further ado, please help me welcome Mr. Daniel.
Can you hear me? What am I supposed to do? Can you hear me? Yes. Okay. Thank you for that very kind introduction. I'm really glad to have this opportunity to talk about a subject that I am very passionate about, and that is the opportunity to use technology for health and for healthcare. I think that my presentation is a little aspirational, and I will be asking questions because I realized I was the only person standing between you and lunch. So if you try to walk out, oh good. If you try to walk out, I'll ask you a question. All right. So when you think about technology, what does that bring to mind? Volunteer, somebody. Does it make you feel happy? Does it make you can move the slide? Okay. What does it make you feel?
I'm sorry,
Empowered.
Scared.
Scared. Threatened. What else? Frazzled. Oh, frightened about what you can find about people. Yeah. Okay. What else? Exposed. So that's like threatened. So lots of negative emotions, right? Effective. So that's a positive emotion. What else does it make you feel?
You feel connected.
You feel connected. Figure out how do we get together, right?
I actually feel analog.
I like that. So technology does not leave anyone without any feelings about it, right? It is able to do something that's really good, but it's also able to raise all of these concerns in our minds. People talk about worry that the robots are going to take over. Do you ever think about that? I mean, like what we do is pretty repetitive. You've heard about, what's that IBM computer that can now like pretty much look at a whole bunch of medical information and just synthesize the diagnosis and the treatment plan, and it's way more accurate than we can be. Okay? So there's that. Okay, Watson. Yes. And then, so like I was shocked one day when I think she was like 8 or 9, was telling me about the inside of the knee joint and how to do knee surgery and change the meniscus. I was shocked. You can get into virtual reality and you can do all of those things. Imagine the power of that for teaching students. And how many of you have been in front of an older person, right? In front of an older person when we were much younger. Now we're old people. When we were much younger and you're talking to them and they look at you crazy, like you have no idea how I feel, right? You have no concept. And because you have no concept and you can't relate to how they're feeling, you're not able to really address their needs. And they feel that. And they see that. And so that creation of the therapeutic relationship or the connection is very difficult to achieve. But what if, imagine that you can teach your medical students with technology, with augmented reality, with virtual reality, where they can be inside of the body of a 78-year-old man and know what it feels like. They know, now we know. We didn't used to know, like I look in the mirror and I can't see my face. But when I was 18, if someone said that, I had no concept of that then. So let's move on. So those are the opportunities. I just put that in to brag. But look what we can do I think that technology has threats and it has the potential to generate all of this negative emotion. But I think that we do our best when we can use technology in the way that moves us forward. So let's go to the next one. So here are some examples, right? You can use artificial intelligence algorithms, so similar to what I said about Watson, to just synthesize tons of medical information and come up with drug targets. So, I do research. So the whole process of doing clinical trials and figuring out new drugs, it tends to be a very long process, 5 to 10 years. And by the time you come up with the drug, okay, it's time to get something else. But with this, you can actually go through, look at all this data. During the Ebola epidemic, they were able to use AI algorithms to come up with potentially 2 drugs that then were spent into clinical trials. It shortened the process. So this is what the 74-year-old man thing is, virtual reality. So let's go on to the next one. I keep forgetting that my slides are looking different. Augmented reality is another way to teach medical students. So similar to what my 8-year-old then was telling me about what goes on in the knee joint. Do you guys remember? Well, it was hard for me. When we did anatomy and we were going to do dissections, you were reading that book and trying to picture where the brachiocephalic nerve would join with this thing and go to this thing. Imagine if this was available, and it actually is now. If we could make that available, or if that could be made available to training medical students, what that would do. Imagine if, how many of you have ever asked a patient, what is wrong? And they give you an answer that makes you go, huh? What's the pain like? Okay, I'm not gonna point fingers with somebody. I have pain. What is it like? Pain now. Imagine if you can actually, the patient can use augmented reality to make you see what they're describing to you, because many times your diagnostic process is hindered because you have no idea what they're saying. And then you do all of this stuff and you're trying to narrow it down. So anyway, I thought this was pretty cool. The surgeons can actually use augmented reality to learn and to practice and to do simulation before they actually do the surgery itself. So it makes it easier. You know how they say they're going to certify you after you've done X number of surgeries? Well, you're not doing it on actual people who are at risk of dying. You do this and you get the skills, and then you go out into practice. Imagine what a boon that would be for medical. I just go to the next one. So here's another opportunity for technology in health and healthcare, right? So it took, $2.7 billion to sequence the human genome back then. Well, guess how much it is now? $100. $100. Not there. But anyway, it has potential, right? So I was talking with Alex yesterday about, people doing ancestry and people interested in checking out where their ancestry is. For a lot of us who are from here, we don't worry about that because you kind of know where your hometown is. You know that stuff. There are people for whom it's a real question and they wonder. So the ability to do that, but beyond that, so who do you get an allergic reaction? I remember giving my husband, was it Malarone? Malaria prophylaxis, right? And the man had every side effect in the book. Wouldn't it have been nice? I could have known. Before I gave it to you, they looked at me sideways for a while, right? I tried to give him medication. But anyway, so there is that whole probably potential, what you can do when you know about your genome. People now eat according to what kind of genes and enzymes they have. They can prescribe a diet for you. I used to think way back when I was young and slim that it was easy. You just ate as much rice as you felt like eating. If I try that now, okay. I have to buy a whole bunch of new clothes. But here's the other thing about revolutionizing drug development. So I think think about it, if you were a person, not a researcher, and someone said to you, I want you to come and be a research participant, and I'm gonna test this medicine that I think is a good thing. but I have no idea if it's actually good. How would you feel? That's what we do right now. We disclose it, but that's what we're doing. So there's the opportunity to use technology to kind of take a lot of that so it accelerates and it reduces the risk to individuals when the time comes for the actual research program. Who does surgery here? I don't. I'm internal medicine, robotics. How cool is that? Have you used any of those like Da Vinci? People, they actually do robotic surgery and it's pretty cool. Like, remember when cholecystectomy scars went from here all the way to here? And they had, that's me, I'm sorry. Can you hear me? Yeah. Okay. And they had like prolonged, like post-op whatnot, so they would get alopecia and everything. But now, you do cholecystectomy, it's 5, little puncture was, right? It's not perfect. But with Da Vinci, it takes it a little further. But imagine if, so people, I remember when I did neuro anesthesia and I had to go to but they're gonna go in the brain, they open the brain and they look and they're like, okay, sorry, you can't cut this out because it's too connected to everything else. Where you can simulate what the tumor looks like, what it's connected to, what you can do to it before you even go in. That's a possibility. That's something that robotics and technology can give you. 3D printing has me excited. Do we have a 3D printer in the university? 3D ultrasound scanning. I have 2 more minutes. 4? So 3D printing, you can make stuff out of a printer. Like you can make a prosthetic limb and print it out, pretty much. So they've taken this, so for us, imagine people who need prosthesis and it's an issue, right? It's very expensive, you can't fit it properly. You can actually use 3D printers to do that. So all of this is the potential for technology and healthcare. I'm gonna spend a minute talking about this that I really like, which is the opportunity. So telemedicine is something else that technology helps with. In your practices, who uses telemedicine? How do you use it?
Sometimes we get diagnosed. Sometimes we can see more than we can share with them.
Okay. All right.
Intensive care, one hospital, special care, one hospital. We share the same radiological system, share the same habits. If you want a second opinion, if you want someone to opinion next week,
So it speeds up a lot, and it provides specialty care where it's not otherwise available.
And so you have all your visual, you can have tele-neuro, tele-psych, just zoom in and then.
No, telepsych. I thought that was such a thing. Like you can do telecognitive behavioral therapy without moving someone from where they are to where the specialist is. For us, for me, my experience with telemedicine is in 2 areas. One is in rapid diagnosis like stroke. So if you're wherever you are, a CT gets done. There's a neuroradiologist somewhere. It doesn't depend on what I think because I haven't seen enough of you to make a diagnosis. They're immediately able to look at those films where they are and tell you push TPA. So you're in that window. The other opportunity is in heart failure, for instance, right? People with chronic disease. They're at home. They wake up in the morning. They're 1 kilogram heavier. They step on the scale, and a nurse practitioner calls them. You can increase your dose of Lasix by 1.5 or whatever. So they end up not getting sick, not having to come back to the emergency room or get plastic pathology. So this is the part that really rocks my boat. Using technology to democratize healthcare. So I started to think about this, I think from when I was an intern at Morehouse at Grady. So you have patients and they show up, and when you're talking to them, they have a chronic condition, right? Things that require them to have an understanding of what's going on, and you them when they're not in front of you. And it's hard to translate that information. So for doctors, we see it in obesity, right? People get frustrated, like, oh, that patient is just gonna, they're not compliant or whatever. or they're diabetics, their blood sugars are never controlled. That's what got us thinking, and we were actually able to develop a technology that helps people not only to chart and journal their information, but even if they don't understand what those numbers mean, just look at colors. It's color coded. So it's red, it's yellow, it's green. Everybody knows what red, yellow, green. In their healthcare, they're not just waiting for you to do something to them. They're bringing something to the table that makes that a very meaningful interaction. So democratizing healthcare, all of you, I'm sure everyone here is wearing some kind of sensor. Yep, if you're not, you're carrying a sensor in your phone. It's counting how many steps you're walking, it's counting what you're doing. I'm out of time. All right, so, oh yeah, so that was my last slide. I can take questions, but the point that I wanted to make with this talk was just to illustrate, to first of all, to acknowledge that technology, even though it's nice, it's great, it creates a lot of different kinds of emotions inside of us. Some are positive, some are negative. I think that the opportunity is to recognize what we can do when what technology can provide, we can't run away from it. People can take a dystopian view, but I think the most successful view is to kind of see this as a way to augment what we can do. Here, as far as what we can bring here is an understanding of what's available, what infrastructure is needed. I was talking with Nnamdi and I said, hey, if we have electricity, the next kind of thing you can think about is those networks that can carry the bandwidth that you need to implement this kind of technology. So if we build incrementally like that, it's huge opportunity. People don't have to get on a plane to go somewhere to get something done. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you for that very engaging presentation. Thankfully, our penultimate speaker is now here, and I think that the next two presentations are going to be of great importance for those of us who live in Nigeria. The two topics are healthcare situation in Nigeria, right? And can medical missions reach the gap in the Nigerian healthcare system? I'd like to welcome first presenter, Dr. Lancy O'Reilly, man in the trenches. I think for those of us in Walter, when you see what he posts, here's the man who's called up, I think he's lost the run for a good cause, and would like to hear what that cause really is. Welcome.
Let me start on 16 protocol. Let me apologize for the little mishap I had. My intention was to actually present with PowerPoint, but we just discovered that my flash was corrupt. All I thought to try and get the information out was not successful. Well, my topic is on healthcare in Nigeria situation report. For me, I just believe it's an academic exercise. Most of us already know what the situation is in Nigeria. It is not something that is very encouraging. Now, we all know how our health system came to existence. From the colonial days to 1960, when we gained independence. There we imbibed the structure of the British health system, which was running very well between 1960 and 1966, before the military came into the picture. And with that, there was a kind of unitary system of government, where one man sits at the top there and gives directive irrespective of what you wish, you will not get it. Within that period, there was healthy rivalry, positive rivalry between the regions. That's where you can see the eastern region, western region, the northern region have very good hospitals that were functioning very well. And most of the time, you get good results when you try and access health care. But with the advent of the military started going on up to 1974. For those of you who are very active in colleges, medical colleges, you recall that in 1974, the salaries of doctors from where it was supposed to be, and that led to many of the doctors resigning from us and joining again in 1985. Same thing occurred when the Nigerian Medical Association was dissolved, and many of the full heads had to leave the system because they could not leave and defend the reasons why they have positions. Now, till 1999, when the Constitution of the Federal Republic was enacted, again by the military, but if you look through that Constitution and relate it to health, you will find that health was not even a recognized sector as far as society is concerned. Particularly, the health, if you look at the fundamental section 33, the fundamental human rights, the fundamental rights are replaced in that section. Health was not missing. Even when we know that the WHO, the United Nations, through the WHO, had actually recognized health as a fundamental right. So it gets to show how we value health. And when it was related to the Constitution, but in that same Constitution, some sections that try to limit health was recognized, like the issue of drug and poisons were recognized in Section 21 and 54 respectively. Even the issue of quarantine was in Section 54. But surprisingly again, the concurrent list and the exclusive list had nothing on health. So in other words, as we speak today, health care is not recognized by the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And that is probably why politicians do not take it very serious when they are doing that sort of thing. If you move from there and look at health and laws in Nigeria, the National Health Act, which was passed in 2014, was supposed to be a framework to serve as a coordinate the private, public health establishments, and even those that are informal into unitary health system. In that law, effort was made